Good morning. My name is Lorene and welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. Today I'm going to talk to you about two books that I've mentioned a little bit before. Cleo Bell is helping. Hey. The first book I'd like to talk about is The Case of the Missing Men. Kris Bertin and Alexander Forbes were the writer-illustrators. And this is Book 1 in the Hobtown Mystery Stories. I believe Book 2 is available. And there's the cover. And this is a graphic novel. The other cool thing about this, you can tell a little bit by the spine if you ever read them. It's a topsy-turvy flip on the Nancy Drew series. The main character here is Dana Nance, and she has 3 school chums, and they've decided that they are going to have an after-school detective club. So they're solving little mysteries. It's a kind of goofy idea, but then I walked around with tinfoil on my ears when I was a teenager, so the aliens couldn't get in. So whatever turns your crank, hey? Let's see now. So the graphic novel takes the Nancy Drew genre and plays with it a little bit. Dana Nance is not as confident as in the original series. Her friends participate more in the problem solving. The dad is not so prominent, so it's not as, Mr. Drew has to come in and solve all these things in case. In this episode, she wonders if her dad isn't part of the problem. Alright, so what do I want to say about this book? It's interesting. The characters are certainly well drawn, both literally and textually. The story has got good turns and plots. At a certain point, I'm thinking to myself there might be some kind of a mystical, magical element to it. There's definitely plots beneath plots. There's a very twisted, intricate kind of rationale for the storyline, and what is the storyline. So this young lad comes into the high school. He's sort of forced to go to school, or he has to go to like a juvenile delinquency kind of a situation. He's been homeschooled, but there aren't any school records for him. So why is he wandering around like that? His dad has gone missing. So this kid has decided that he's going to solve the problem of his missing dad because no one else seems to be taking it too seriously, and discovers that Dana Nance and her buddies have this detective club. So they come together and they decide to solve the mystery. Of course, there's all kinds of shenanigans, of a kind of deep, creepy sort of thing, because there's a lot of adults involved in the crime, so it's kids against adults. And I don't mean kids, I mean teenagers, sorry about that. Let's see, what else? Without giving it away, it's not 100% resolved, because, like a good graphic novel, if there's going to be a series, you either solve each book completely and move on to a separate mystery, or you let the emphasis of that mystery move on into the next book. So, not sure what will happen in book 2. I think it'll pick up the story. Alright, the other thing I wanted to talk about was the illustrations themselves. This is what I would call a heavily inked illustration method. This is one of the murder victims, and you can see there's a lot of line work in that one. In fact, this is one of the easier ones to photocopy. That's why I chose it. Some of the others are more, as you can see here, there's a lot of black ink, there's a lot of hatching, there isn't a whole lot of line work, and that's a kind of an interesting page. There's very little text on it, and you can certainly get what the story is trying to tell you. So it's a successful set of illustrations. I just prefer something a little lighter, where the background is not quite so strongly drawn in. But that's just a preference. I'm also always fascinated by the amount of time spent in the actual illustration versus the amount of text that's available. I have another one upstairs where what the author has done is done the text more on a side panel and then let the drawings more or less work for the story with very little text in the actual drawings, or maybe he's done captions underneath the drawings. So just a different approach. I like it. I think it's a good book. I'm going to get the second one. Don't think I mentioned that my beautiful son Lucas gave this to me for Christmas, so thank you, Lucas. I enjoyed it. The second book I'd like to talk about is similar in a sense that it's got a comic graphic novel to it. It's an adventures book, The Adventurer's Guide to Treasure and How to Steal It, by Albert Wade. Wade. Oh my God, I got that completely wrong. Wade Albert White. There we go. Poor Gugger. So this is book 3 in the series. And in it there's tons and tons of danger, betrayal, explosions, and chickens. It takes place in the world of pirates. The main pirate is an octopus robot kind of creature, and somehow is the father of the main character's new best friend, and she is a pirate in a wheelchair. The 3 main characters are Anne, Penelope, and Hero, and they're like, what would you call it? They're like a team, and each one plays a role in the team in the adventures, and they go on quests. They have to solve the quest, or there's catastrophic end results, and so it's also part of their education. So if they mess up on the quest, not only will the world blow up, but they won't get a good grade at school. So it's fun that way. It's a story about pirates that, well, this octopus pirate is using his pirate cruise to get these quest medallions, and if they are manipulated in a certain kind of way, then the end of the world will happen, and he's manic for, wants to be the world powers. So it's okay to him if the world blows up. I always wonder what these guys think will happen to them if the whole world blows up and they're just standing there on a little piece of island going, oh, okay, well, nobody left to be powerful over, but that's okay. I am the king. So that's definitely, that's just me, blah, blah. So it's a great story. The world has been well built around in volumes 1 and 2. In book 3, there's a lot more traveling that takes place. So there's a timeline, and the amount of obstacles that they meet in the journey just helps to add the tension. I'm always, oh my God, there's only an hour left and they're miles from their destination. So there's that sort of tension, as well as the other mystery elements that need to be solved. I thought it was a great romp, and I thought it was really, really good to be reading at the same time as a graphic novel, because they're both adventure type stories, they're both mystery stories, they both have a wide range of characters. There's the drawing through the pen, and then there's the drawing through the words. And I thought that this book actually had quite a lot of illustrations, but when I went to go and photocopy something to show you, I realized there weren't that many. That's how well the author has drawn the world and drawn the characters and what they're wearing and what their expressions are and what their emotions are. So it's a very well-crafted book. This is the sort of illustration that's been used. And I don't really know the technique. It's a lot more three-dimensional. I think it might be using airbrush techniques, but I'm not 100% positive about that. But it's softer, it's a little more child-centric. The other illustrations in the book, which I should have earmarked but didn't, for instance, that's the octopus pirate. And this is how they've done it. They've just inserted a couple of spot drawings along the way to give you some sense of what the dragon might look like or what the robots might look like. And I should mention, for those of you who like a story with dragons, the dragon is in here, but has encountered a real mishap and is pretty annoyed by it. He still plays a significant part in the story, but yeah, not happy dragon. So I think that's about it. Next week I'm going to, if everything works weather-wise, I'll be hosting my book club here, and we will be talking about the book Ragnarok, which I've mentioned before. I read it a long time ago, so I'm just waiting for what the gang's going to say about it, because I can't really think of too much to say about it. I'm hoping they've got something good to add. Otherwise, we'll be reviewing a different book entirely. So thanks for listening. Hope you come back, and I'm pretty sure I got the top of my head this time. Take care. Bye-bye.